is called a whore, a harlot. I know Japheth has mentioned this, but I want us to see biblically what this actually means. What happened when God referred to people as a harlot? And where do we see this in the Bible?
Thank you very much. It's interesting that as we're looking at this particular woman in Revelation 17, and the first thing is that from the very outset, he's being described as a harlot. We are not. It is not left for us to decipher from our understanding what this harlot is. In the Bible, both the Old Testament, we find the Lord simply telling the people of Israel that they have played the harlot. Israel has played the harlot by forsaking the true God and uniting with the false gods, the false idols. And those are some of the reasons that led them into idolatry. So Ezekiel specifically 16:32 says, "You are an adulterous wife who takes strangers instead of her husband." So the harlotry referred to here is that this woman, this church of God, instead of remaining faithful, has taken strangers to be her husband. Now, after taking the strangers to be her husband, you see, the thing is, when you make one choice, it usually leads to several others that follows. When we say that the harlot now sits on many waters, and then the kings of the earth now commit fornication with her, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Her very first act of forsaking her husband was an act of fornication in itself. So that particular wrong act has been replicated to other particular kings. And the interesting thing that we see here is that this particular woman is sitting on a beast. Now, in contrast to the woman in Revelation 12 who is standing on the moon, the woman in Revelation 12 is actually deriving her light from the word of God. The woman in Revelation 17 is depending on state powers to influence decisions and lord over people. So much.
Just pause right there, because if you move fast like that, we will lose you.
Okay.
How do we know that the beast represents a state? How do we know this?
Now,
because we know what the woman is.
Yeah, we know already that the woman represents the church. And in biblical prophecy, the beast represents a kingdom. And in this particular regard, the beast representing a kingdom already comes with it the state powers that we are talking about. And that's when I mean that the woman is sitting on a beast. He's enjoying all the powers she has because she has the backing of the state. She has the power, the weaponry, the infantry. I mean, anything that the state usually gets, they have such powers.
As opposed to the word of God.
As opposed to the word of God. So even in this time and age, we'd ask ourselves, which church has a seat at the UN? I mean, there are very few churches. I mean, there's only one church that has a seat at the UN. Because the UN is a seat for states alone. But there's a church that is recognized and has ability to sit at the UN. So it is such powers that you're talking about that now would make them forsake the word of God and only focus on that which is being given to them by the word. And many other things that perhaps my fellow panelists can chip into.